Today I was thinking about the philosophy, and generally I like to read philosophy, but at times I also see some video lectures, not the one made by the creators, but like the professors um, who talk about the philosophy on different philosophers. And recently I was reading about Kierkegaard and his existentialism. So Kierkegaard basically says in Fear and Trembling, or the concept of dread, that, well, there is Abraham, which is a knight of faith. And then I saw some videos on YouTube, and they said that Kierkegaard, the title was like Kierkegaard, the Knight of Faith. And I was like, why would people call Kierkegaard Knight of Faith? I mean, I know people give titles to other people, but Kierkegaard is not a Knight of Faith. Kierkegaard said to us that we can choose either the life of aesthetics or lead the moral life, which is the life of ascetics. And he chose the latter one for himself. But in doing that, he's not becoming a knight of faith. He is not vouching for only faith. He just gave us an option that, okay, you can lead this life, which is aesthetic, with all the pleasures and the worries and everything, or you can be ascetic and lead the life of morals, like as in Christianity. So he just gave us options, like either this life or that life, but he himself didn't vouch for that life, like the life of faith. I mean, he chose it, and we might say that, okay, when you choose something, you think it's the best of it, but then why would you say about other thing? Like, he could have said that the other thing is bad, but he just said that you could lead either this or that life, in either or. So my point is also existentialist philosophy. When it came into existence, existentialism just denotes that um, everyone is an individual and they need to choose for themselves, like as also Kierkegaard said, like either or. Even like famous existentialist philosopher like Nietzsche has had his own philosophy. He like famously despised Socrates and also Hegel in some terms, though he was following Schopenhauer during his early days. But then again, he was against Schopenhauer in the end. He said that he will lead us to doom, the Schopenhauer, if you follow his philosophy. So in a way, existentialist philosophy is like you choose your own thing, no? And then I started thinking that when humanity, it becomes a collective, like whole of humanity as a collective, they can never be individuals. So an individual has the potential to realize the highest truth, but as a community, as a humanity, we can't. So like some of the famous examples might be Buddha's example. Like he said that be a light unto yourself, appadipo bhava, appadipo bhava. That means be your own light. He said that also do not follow me. And famously, J. Krishnamurti, who was a philosopher in like late 20th century, around 1960s, 70s, 80s, like that, he also, I think, said in one of his essays or one of his speeches that uh, if people had listened to Buddha, there won't be Buddhism. So then what I got into the thinking is that as a humanity, as an individual, we have the freedom to realize that highest truth, and many people have done in the past. Socrates, Zarathustra, then okay, Jesus Christ, Nietzsche, Kierkegaard for that matter, Buddha, like as the example goes. But as when the collective humanity tries to follow it, it can't. Because, like, speaking in pure scientific term, pure evolutionary terms, like for 200, almost like more than 200,000 of years, we were just struggling. We were just living like animals, surviving, like trying to survive, trying to get to this point. Or should I miss my count? Like when I do this crochet, I also need to count when it's like a complex pattern. So I need to count four. Just a minute. Till it becomes monotonous. One, two, three, and four. Okay. So, yeah. So, like when our brain was developing, basically it was like the childhood of humanity. So, what did it develop for? Like survival, reproduction, and this is like 200,000 years of conditioning, more than that. And our modern thinking, modern philosophy, even the ancient philosophy is not more than like 2000 years of old, which is like 1% of 200,000 years. So you can see it as like escaping the childhood conditioning. You know how difficult it is to get out of your childhood conditioning, like how crappy your childhood was, or how you were in childhood, and then that you project in your adult life. And most people can't do that until we recently figured it out that okay, it can also be the case, like after the Freud psychoanalysis. So then I thought that okay, there are some these individuals like who are individuals and they got out of this, like be buddhas be it buddha's enlightenment. Okay, you can be enlightened if you believe in yourself, or be Christian, like Jesus Christ's teachings that okay, he went to heaven, in a way he got out of all these cycles. Same also, or Kierkegaard's you can choose this life or that life, and he chose that life, the ascetic life. And famously, like Kierkegaard believed in Christianity, but he just said that okay, I don't have. I think he didn't believe in salvation. I think Kierkegaard's Christianity doesn't have salvation because he just tells us to choose that life, and only it's a leap of faith. Like he used that word, leap of faith. So you have to take a leap of faith, and when you are promised some goal, like okay, there is salvation at the end, it's not a leap of faith. So Kierkegaard took the leap of faith. He didn't know whether he has salvation or not, but he saw the way out of it was living like a monk, living like ascetic life. So in a way, what I was getting at is that yes, there are these individuals, like exceptional individuals who develop their own philosophy, and they get out of this cycle of mind and consciousness and everything, like just to try to escape the evolutionary brain, the evolutionary conditioning of like thousands of years. And as a humanity collectively will always struggle for that, because when you are part of a group, it's basically all the evolutionary um, tactics will come into the picture. Like you will try to survive in social setting, okay, try to find a girlfriend, try to show the love to your kids, so you get trapped. So this is what they call samsara in Buddhism, also in Hinduism, like in Hinduistic philosophy. So in a way, as an individual, you have the potential. And also, I'm not saying to just get out of the society and do that, because there are some famous examples, like Kabir was a famous saint in India who was married, who was a weaver, I guess. He used to do shawls and stuff, but still he had realized it while still living the life in this world. And also, there are many saints in um, Maharashtra, like the state where I come from. Like I think it's Vittal is the god, the local deity, which is like a form of a later form of Krishna. So it's called Bhakti Pantha, like the way of bhakti, the way of worship. So like they had an object of worship and they tried for it. So Tukaram was famously also married, but like living his daily life. Also, there are many saints in that bhakti pantha or the way of worship, who are living normal life, like they literally have the names of like what profession they were doing, like Gora Kumbar, who was like a potter. So I was just saying that, okay, like while also living in the group, societal group, you can do that, but you also have to cultivate your own conditioning. And like, as going back to the quote by J. Krishnamurti, that if people had actually believed in Buddha's teaching, there won't be Buddhism. So in a way, when these philosophers, they show us guiding light, okay, this is the path, you go that way. And when it reaches to a collectivist humanity, like a group of people, we are like moths who just gets attracted to those flames or those lights, the guiding lights, and we just flock around it. Okay, Buddha said that, or Christ said that, so we just hover around like kind of the moths to the flames, or moths to the fires, or moths to the lights. We just stay there, get stuck to it. And this reminds me of, like, in India, like in rainy season, there are lots of these insects who comes on the crop, and like in the during the day it's fine because there is a light, but at night it's a havoc in everyone's home, because they come to the light, like all the moths, all the insects, they just come searching for the light, and they just come to your house, and your house is filled with insects. So there is a typical way of trapping those. It's like a, so what do? Like, they switch off all the lights in the house, and like outside the house there is one light which is lit, and around it they put like the traps, maybe like oil soaked papers. So all the insects, they come there, they hover around the light, and they just get trapped. And I think that is the condition of humanity. Even when we are shown the path, okay, this is the lamp post, and this way the path goes, but only at that intersection there is this light, and after which the path is dark, and you need to follow your own path. You need to create your own path from that guiding point. It's like a, when you're lost in the desert, and if someone comes and shows you the way, okay, this is the way, you just don't go and stand there to that lamppost. You need to follow also the way, like out of that point you need to create your own path. So it's like giving hints. So all the people, like all the famous people, philosophers who have gone beyond the cycle of consciousness or suffering and all that stuff, they are the guiding light. And as a humanity, as a collective humanity, we are like moths. We just get around and hover around those lampposts. But again, it's a tragedy. I mean, we cannot escape it, because if we live in this collective society, I mean, yes, we will always live in the collective societies. Like, humans are social creatures, but as a mind is a free concept. So you can be an individual and follow these lights. So in a way, all these philosophies and stuff, they are not the end answers, that okay, there is something at the end. They are showing you the path, and it's up to you to choose your path. Like, become monk, famously, as Kierkegaard said. You can also lead this aesthetic life mired with all the pleasures and the worries of it, in Kierkegaard's aesthetic life, like in the either life. But you need to be the one to choose. I guess that's my take. I might also be wrong. But yes, ultimately what I believe is that you need to find, and belief is not something you believe blindly. You come to a conclusion. Like, all these people, they have come to a conclusion. It's not like they followed someone. Okay, I will continue, I guess, but I'll just leave it. Thanks.